Good morning. Welcome to tea time. How is everybody doing today? Let me know. Say hello as you're hopping on. Let me know if you had fun with us this weekend, if you were at Stamp Joy. Let me know, did you have a good time? I know that we all suffered from a little bit of withdrawal on Sunday and Monday, but now it's Tuesday and we're here again. So yeah, I hope everybody had an awesome time. I know that I can speak for all of the instructors and myself. We had an amazing time with everyone who participated in our Stamp Joy virtual event. It has been super fun to see everyone's excitement and all of the projects that you created and all of the orders that you placed. So our team is busy. The orders have piled up over the weekend. So if you are placing an order today for our new release, which I know lots of you are because I can't even delete the order confirmation emails out of my inbox as quick as they're coming in. So that's awesome. But just know that our team is working as hard and fast as we possibly can, but we do have a ton of orders from our event that happened over the weekend that are in front of the orders that are happening today. So it might not be quite as quick as the shipment notification 2 hours after you place your order. So just to be aware of that, give us a little bit of grace as we're catching up on those orders. So hello, Louise. Good to see you this morning. Debbie's here. Had a blast this weekend. Awesome. Beth is here. And hi, Becky. Belinda, good morning to you. We do not yet have a number on the amount that was raised for Special Olympics yet. We usually kick in some of Tailored Expressions to give them a nice round number. So we will calculate all of that soon and let you guys know also. Hi, Julie. Hi, Mindy. I'm glad you loved Stamp Joy. And Perry's here today. Awesome. Hi, Charlie. Thanks for getting links up for everybody. So Charlie's here today with the new links to the new products releasing today. And if you haven't yet seen your email or any of the sneak peeks we've posted, we are celebrating our half birthday today. So usually we don't celebrate our half birthday, but we had a great reason to celebrate this year. Because, do you really need a reason to celebrate? Why not have more cake and cupcakes and treats and all of that good stuff? And if you are coming into the studio today, you will have some of that to celebrate our half birthday. But we had a great reason to celebrate because we wanted to do a birthday themed Create in Quads stencil. And I am so very excited to show you guys. This has been a fun one to kind of work through the production process and the design process and think about all the things that everyone would want to do with a birthday quad stencil. Not that this will be the only one that there ever is, but I think it's an awesome start to a theme that we all create a ton of cards for. So you guys want to see? Should we get down? Let's get down in front of me and you can take a look at some of those samples that have been created by our awesome team. Thank you for the half birthday wishes, Amrita. Linda, you had a fun time at Stamp Joy. Awesome. Marsha already placed her order this week, or this morning. You are on it. So, all right, just getting my stuff moved around so I can see everybody's comments as we continue to talk about what is happening today. So let me first, I'm going to kind of move some of these things out of the way, and we're going to talk about what's releasing today. Already ordered mine, Tracy says. Okay, so let's first talk about our special offer, which is usually what I do. Our special offer, this release, is this adorable little set called Be Unicorn. So like Be You, and it's a unicorn, so we kind of combined those together into Be Unicorn. Features this adorable little unicorn drawn by our favorite cutesy illustrator, Much Sketch, and features the unicorn in the cloud with several sentiments. The sentiments all fit inside the cloud, or you can put the cute little stars and hearts inside the cloud or all around the unicorn. So for our half birthday celebration, we decided to switch up the 100 plus freebie just for this period of time. So this is the item, the stamp and the die, that you can earn when you purchase when you purchase $100 or more from Tuesday through Sunday. So the regular freebie for this month, which is the Ring Around the Words, is not available currently from Tuesday through Sunday. This is the item that you will receive. So I know lots of you have already earned that Ring Around the Words set. So this is a new freebie item just for our half birthday celebration. So it will be gone after Sunday. And it is a stamp, and you can see the die nested in there as well. So let me show you a few samples. First, I'm going to pull out this one. I love this one. Emily Midlowski created this, and she used our easy strips in the background in a whole rainbow of colors. And our cute little unicorn is coming in on a rainbow. I think it's so cute and very simple and easy to do. So you can cut one of those very long strips and probably get at least 2 or maybe even 3 cards out of each of these strips. So that one is super fun from Emily, featuring the bee unicorn. And then I got started and I couldn't stop. So I actually made 3 projects featuring the unicorn. I wanted to pull out all of my rainbow goodies. So I grabbed this stamp, and it's a clear stamp set, and it's called Big Rainbow. It has a die that coordinates, and then you can stamp the different rings of the rainbow with different clear stamp fills. I also used, if you guys can see the texture on the cloud, I used the puffy white embossing powder that released last week on all of the clouds on my project. So I thought that was kind of a fun addition. I've got my gold glitter on the stars and on the unicorn's horn. So that one is with the big rainbow. And then I wanted to see what it would look like with something a little bit that you might not have thought of as used for a rainbow. This is our arched stacklets set, and I just kind of taped all of those stacklets together, and then I cut them out of each color to create the frames in different colors. So I just kind of matched them up. After I cut all of them out of one color cardstock, I took the biggest in the red and the next in the orange. I was able to get a couple different sizes. So this one you can see doesn't have the purple, and this one has the smallest purple layer. And then I used the technique that we talked about at Stamp Joy, where I put Versamark on that piece, covered it with the diamond embossing powder, and then heat embossed it. So if you could see it in real life, right now it just looks glossy, but it is super sparkly and glossy at the same time. Oh, Louise is telling me to show today's make and take. Can you bring that over? It's just on that tray right there. So if you're coming into the studio, Louise is using our Sweet Bee Unicorn Set 2 with this adorable unicorn card, also featuring the easy strips in the 1/2 inch size. So just enough to fit all the colors of the rainbow across with those cute silver glitter cardstock strips in between. So come on in today if you're in the area and make one of those cute cards. Okay, now let's talk about what we've all been asking for. So ever since we released our Creating Quads concept, you guys have been asking for a birthday theme. When is the birthday one coming? And have you considered doing a birthday one? Well, of course I considered it, and we had to fit in a special half birthday celebration just to get this in everybody's hands. So one difference here is this stencil features a couple of different imagery items. So one of the quadrants creates this stack of presents, and another quadrant creates the party hat. And then you have 2 other quadrants that create more of a patterned background. So you have the kind of confetti look and then the streamers as well. There are so many different ways you can decorate these. And then we have, this is new, so we have not done anything like this with any of our Creating Quads patterns previously, but this one, because it features those 2 large imagery-based quads, we have a die that matches each of those. So you can pick one or the other or both or none. You can still make beautiful cards without the dies, but having those dies gives you the option to step it up and do some really cool things. So a little bit later in the video, we're gonna do a shaker card using the party hat and do what I call a reverse shaker card. So I'll show you that, and we're gonna blend that stencil all together. But before I move on, let me show you some of the beautiful projects that the design team has created. So, can you guess who did these? I haven't been able to see all the comments today, so maybe she's here, but these are from the wonderful Heather Nichols. You can tell by the beautiful toffee colored cardstock that she used. She also did one of her layers with the Happy Medium iridescent glitter paste. She used that Get the Word Out Happy on all 4 of them and combined it with the On Repeat birthday stamp. So that's a great one for this as well. The On Repeat birthday allows you to stamp 8 birthday sentiments and die cut them all at once. So then you can combine them with whatever happy you have. We have our On the Block Happy. We have our Get the Word Out Happy. So super cute cards from Heather. Love those. Then we have these from Miss Jill Hawkins. You can see how she decided to decorate, and she added in a few extras. So we've got our cute Bee Unicorn set with the confetti background. She did just a sentiment with the imagery-based panels, and then over here she added some cute grumplings with sentiments. Happy birthday from all of us. Being nice is exhausting. So that's funny. I think that one is called Mythical Grumplings, if I remember correctly. There's a unicorn, a yeti, and a dragon, I believe. So super cute from Jill. Next up, we have our favorite resident rainbow crafter. So these are all from Emily Midlowski. You can see the direction she went, of course, with rainbow, creating a rainbow with the confetti background, rainbow with that streamers, and then the rainbow presents, and the rainbow party hat is so adorable, which she created a tag out of this. I love that idea. So, and then she used the present die cut to do a mini slim card, and then the 2 kind of pattern background panels she used with this is the On the Block Happy that I was telling you about, and then On the Block Hooray. So lots of things to combine with these. Now, if you are doing a rainbow like this, you would need to do some masking. So maybe grab some of that Post-it removable labeling tape or something to mask off as you do each of those different pieces, because they are not all on different layers. That would be in, 8-layer stencil. So you will have to do some masking to get those different colors. So that's from Emily. Then let's see what else we have here. These are from Susan. So Susan loved the thought of using these as boy cards, because I know it's often hard to find something that's appropriate for boys or even for men, but with this particular stencil you can simply just change up the color combination and do something that's appropriate for boys. So this would be confetti cake, lime zest, blue raspberry, and poblano pepper. So it's actually 4 different colors intermixed, and using those outer edges to add dimension with the darker colors, which we'll do a little bit of when I share the video later today. So yes, you can see that she does have 4 panels, but she made 3 cards with them. So there's the confetti panel, and this is the birthday party hat cut out and placed over another stamped background. And on this one, she cut out the presents and placed it over the streamers. You'll notice shaker cards are one of Susan's favorite things. So she used the tiny diamonds that coordinate with all of our cardstock colors just perfectly to add lots of shaker fun to the middle of those. And yes, I can post Susan's cards to the fan page. If you're not part of our fan page, then head over there and get yourself signed up, especially after this weekend, because it's a fun place to be. Everybody loves to share inspiration there. I know you guys are going to be surprised by this, but this is the project that I featured on the Tailored Expressions blog and YouTube channel today. So I created these very simple cards, and I used purple, which I think pink and purple is a really fun combo for little girl cards or for your adult women friends as well. So I went with the light and pink, or light and dark pink, and the light and dark purple for these 4 cards. In the video, I also share my favorite tip for black embossed sentiments without using black embossing powder. So if you're curious about that, then go check out the video. You can find it on the Tailored Expressions blog or on our YouTube channel on how I created these 4 projects. And you will see that I also give you tips on how to use that final layer to apply the Happy Medium iridescent glitter paste and add some sparkle to these very simple cards. Sherry noticed the purple and pink. Deb says she's proud of me that I'm spreading my wings. Thank you. I do my best. Okay, and last but certainly not least, I wanted to give you a little sneak peek of this is actually a class that Louise will be teaching in the Tailored Expressions studio. So if you are coming in today to the studio, you have the opportunity to sign up for the class. And you actually, when you sign up for the class, you get the stencils as part of your class fee. And so that will be a really fun way for everybody to get a set of their stencils. So if you haven't bought your stencils yet and you know you want to take Louise's class, then maybe hold off and wait to sign up and get your stencils in the studio, because the stencils will be part of this fun class that Louise is teaching. And she's teaching it a couple of times, once during the day and once in the evening. So we'll see if you guys prefer a daytime or an evening class. Okay, I forgot about sharing these products. I didn't totally forget, but these are the sentiments that you saw on a lot of the cards. This is the It's Your Day stamp set with the coordinating dies. And if I can just pull out the 4 projects that I created, you can see how I use those sentiments on each of the projects. They are designed to work well and size well with the designs in the stencil set, but you can certainly add things like this. We've got our Get the Word Out Happy and Celebrate. We've got the On the Block Hooray and Happy. So there are lots of different ways to add sentiments to these cards. This is called the It's Your Day with the coordinating dies for that. Then we have a couple embellishments that look good enough to eat, but please don't eat them. So releasing with this release, if you were part of our Advent calendar in November, the countdown to Christmas, you received a package of these rainbow enamel dots, and now they are available for purchase. So these are fun little embellishments that you can add to the background of your cards. You can see on Louise's card, they fit really nicely to accent the bottom of that party hat. I'm trying to see, I know other people used them in here, but now I've got all my cards stacked up. But of course you can use them within the background as confettis, etc. So that's the rainbow enamel dots. Then this little packet is super fun. These are our bits and pieces confetti dots. They are made of clay. They look good enough to put on an actual cake and eat, but like I said, please don't do that because they are made of clay. They are not real sprinkles, so don't taste test them, but they're super adorable. And you can grab those as well. Let me show you some of the ways that the gals use them. So these 2 by Jill, she added them in the background of her project. There was one here from Emily that she took. Let's see, she actually added the clay dots in on the base of her party hat as well. So enamel dots, clay dots, they both look really fun in that way. Okay, let's craft, shall we? Here's what I'm going for. I told you I was going to create a reverse shaker card. I wanted to use these as my shaker bits today, so I grabbed colors that I thought would coordinate well with these little confetti dots. And these are probably not colors that I ever would have put together on my own, so we're going to see how this goes. I have watermelon, I have cupcake, I have candy corn, potato chip, and mint julep. I think they all look pretty fun together when you stack them up like this. I think that looks like a fun color combination, and that was the best match to the confetti clay dots here. So we're gonna grab the stencil. Could I get some Post-it removable labeling tape for some masking? That would be awesome. I feel a little bit when I ask for things like, I feel like Rachel Ray. She always yells spoon when she doesn't have something to stir her stuff. So that's me today. All right. So here we have those 3 stencils that create the patterns that you see in each quadrant. Now, if you're not familiar with our stencil collection, then let me tell you a few things about it. First of all, you will find tailored expressions etched in the bottom left corner and the item number in the bottom right. You can see that it says TESN 210-1. So that is the layer 1 of the stencil. A lot of times it doesn't matter what order you go in, but sometimes we try to think about what you'll have the most successful alignment with, or which pieces make sense to go first. So if it doesn't bother you, for the first time you use it, why don't you try using it in the order that we have numbered it? And then if you don't like that and you want to go in a different order, then do that. Oh, this is, yes, Christine, we sure do. We need a quads placemat, and it is something that I have had kind of in development for a while now, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Okay, here's another thing to know about these stencils. So they have the alignment squares on the corners of each layer of the stencil, so you can easily line them up. I'm going to give you some tips for that here in just a little bit. And then the other alignment guide they have is all the way around the inside edge of the stencil is an alignment guide. Now that guide is at 8 by 10.5, and the reason why you want to start with that size paper is because it just allows for a much simpler cut. So when you're done with your project, you simply cut it in half both ways. If you start with an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, then you have to cut around all the edges, and then you have to cut it in half. So that's why I instruct and designed these to start with an 8 by 10.5. It's kind of the foolproof way of doing it. Then if you don't get your cuts all the way around the outside correct, then your panels won't line up. So you're going to use this alignment guide to line up your paper, the 8 by 10.5 paper, behind the stencil. And once you do your first layer, you shouldn't have to do too much. I mean, we're not machines. Heather always says this. I'm not a machine who can just perfectly line up each layer, so you are going to have to do a little bit of eyeballing to make sure your stencil design is in the right place, but those 4 square quadrants that are on there, after you line up that first layer, they should be great guides for lining up the next 2 layers. Annie asked, is the class Taylor mentioned on the website? It is not, so that is just an in-person studio event that Louise will be offering. But we do have our video on the Tailored Expressions blog and YouTube channel, so you guys can check that out. It's kind of like a mini class if you want to think of it that way. Okay, so here's what I have to start. I have my 8 by 10.5 piece of paper, and I have a Tailored Expressions grid paper placemat that I just flipped over because it's nice to not fight with all of the lines that are on that when you're using this particular stencil and trying to get it aligned. And so enter Christine, who is absolutely right that we need to have a placemat specifically for quads, and we are working on that. So I'm going to add some adhesive to the back of this piece of paper, which is going to allow my paper to stay down on my placemat. I don't want my paper to move after I line up that first layer. So we're going to come in here with TESN 210-1. I'm going to spray pixie spray on the back of that. Now the reason I'm doing that is because there are a few spots, mostly up here in the streamers part, where there's some little pokey pieces that if you don't get them tacked down to your paper, it's going to ruin the look of the streamers. So if you are opposed to pixie spray, I would at least recommend pixie spraying this quadrant up here so you get the best results with those streamers. But the rest of the areas should be just fine without pixie spray. So I'm gonna go ahead and just pixie spray the whole shebang. If you haven't used pixie spray, shake it up good before you use it. And sometimes the lid doesn't want to come off for me. I'm gonna spray it about 6 inches from my piece of paper and just a nice light coat. If you get too much pixie spray on your stencil, you'll notice that it does transfer to your paper. If that happens to you, something like an adhesive eraser, adhesive remover, those squares, will get that off. Just make sure you've waited for your pattern to dry before you try to use an adhesive eraser. You don't want to smear it. You wait until that gets a little bit tacky, maybe 20 seconds or so, and then I'm going to put my head as close as I can get without moving into the camera view so that I can see that line all the way around the outside of my stencil. I want to make sure that this first layer I take the most time with to get it just perfectly straight on there. All right. Now, one of the things that I didn't mention, whoops, I got a little bent piece there. So be careful. Don't do as I did, which was probably I bent this little piece while I was cleaning it. So just be careful of those little pokey pieces in the streamers area. Mine's kind of sticking up. Okay, one of the things I didn't mention, but that is a very good tip, we do offer pre-cut pieces of Creating Quads paper in both sugar cube and toffee. So if you're like Heather and you like to blend on toffee, or if you like to blend on sugar cube, we have that already pre-cut to the 8 by 10.5, and you can purchase that already done for you. All right, now we decide what we're gonna brush. I did not do this ahead of time, so this is just Taylor working on the fly and hoping for the best. So we're gonna start with watermelon, I think. I like this color. And I'm gonna blend off onto my placemat before I come onto the stencil. This is a nice, vibrant red color. I do have some bitty blender brushes here too. So I'm gonna grab my removable labeling tape and I'm just gonna mask off the top of that box and come in and do the bottom. So I'm gonna leave the top of that box to do a different color. And you can experiment how you would like. We'll do these down here. That's really what this is all about, experimenting. And if you don't like the color combo, then you try something different the next time. I'm hoping this one turns out fun. All right, so I'm gonna grab this down here and put this down here. Go ahead and do every other stripe red. I need one more little piece here. Candy says I'm on Team Wing It today. So true. I am actually headed out. It is our spring break week around here, but I stuck around because I wanted to introduce this quad stencil. It has been far too exciting for me to miss it. So I am heading out. My kids they asked me this morning, when will you be home, Mom? When will you be home so we can leave? So we are leaving right after I get done with this live, and we are headed out to a water park, indoor of course, and the kids cannot wait. It's actually just the girls and I this time. We're leaving the boys home. Okay, so there's the first little bit of masking that we did on this particular layer. Now let's bring in, can I get this to come off, please? Come on. It's my nails, I promise. Okay, so I am gonna go ahead and mask this, and I'm gonna bring in pink. I wanna do some pink. So the pink that I chose, that was watermelon, and this is cupcake. So we're gonna do this light pink color. And we'll move this over here and get this streamer. No idea how we're doing yet as far as how this color combination looks, but team wing it all the way. Okay, and then one more. Oh, I have a little bit of cupcake left up here. There we go. The water park is not really in our area, so we're heading up to Minnesota to the, I don't know if any of you have ever done Great Wolf Lodge before, but that is where we are headed. It's kind of our family's little vacation spot. Usually Henry goes with us, but John's having some back problems and I can't take care of all three of the children. Henry's a handful at a water park, so he's gonna stay home this time and we are gonna have some girl fun. I'm excited because I'm hoping I can convince my girls to go to the Mall of America and go shopping. Okay, so I am going to do, we're gonna do some green. We're gonna do some mint on this bottom part. Again, I am on Team Wing It, so we can all learn from my mistakes today if we don't like this color combination. Okay. Now before we remove this first layer, I probably should have done this at the beginning because you never want to forget this step is very important. You need to use a pencil to mark those alignment squares, and I usually mark and then color them in on all four corners. And then when we are removing our first stencil layer, we want to make sure that this paper stays down on our placemat. So don't remove the paper with the stencil. So there's the first little bit. Now let's start with that second stencil. I'm trying to keep my eye on the time because studio opens. All right, so layer number 2, pixie spray on the back. Waving it around. All right, now this is the part where we should be able to use those alignment squares, also using our eyes, because once again, we are not machines, and you can see down here in this quadrant is the one you want to pay most attention to as you are lining up those stripes. So hopefully everybody can see that. These are more forgiving because some of the parts overlap and there really isn't any part here that touches each other. So you just want to make sure that the lines between each layer of your stripes on your hat, once again, I just nicked the pokey part, so press. Let's do press and not rub. All right, so we're going to do some yellow and orange on this one. We're going to start with, I was going to start with the orange, but now I've decided I'm going to start with the yellow. So let's follow Susan's rule and put the orange away for now. This is potato chip, so this is our pastel yellow color. I feel like I have to do super, anybody remember Olympic speed blending from this weekend with Heather? Apparently Heather has qualities that make her an Olympic speed blender, and those are great qualities to have when you're on a live video, because you got to speed it along sometimes, and that's what I'm trying to do here. So note that I might normally take my time a little bit more. All right, I'm gonna grab my little masking to do the two outer layers in the yellow. Somehow I got some pink on that one. Must be on the back. Yes, it's on the back. Bionic blender. And Sherry says, I'm now much faster at blending. After watching Heather, we all got a little bit faster. We didn't realize we were slow until she blended. Okay, so this layer was mostly yellow, but I am going to pop in a little bit of orange here. I'm going to use my bitty blender brush for this. Pop some orange in the middle of that present. At the top, I guess you could say. Add some to the edges of the streamers. Do a couple of stars down here in orange. And then this one is much more forgiving. You can just sort of dribble some orange in there. I'm kind of finding the larger asterisks and using those as my orange elements. Need a little bit down here and a little bit over here. Now I'm going to get out some new Post-it tape because mine is junked up. And we're going to mask that off and add an orange stripe to our party hat here. Yeah, we all thought Heather was speeding up her blending on her videos, but no, come to find out that's just her normal blending speed. Super speedy blending. We like to give each other a hard time at Stamp Joy. I teased Susan about not being able to see all the little details with her glasses, and we just have a good fun time. So Kathy said the Olympic speed blending bent her stencil and she's still nursing her sore arm. I'm sorry, Kathy. Olympic speed blending turns out is not for everyone. Okay, so we're going to pull up that next layer of the stencil. Those guides are already marked for us. Now we just need to make sure that we keep that paper in the same place as we pull back layer 2. You can see the patterns starting to come together. I'm liking how the stripes on my party hat are turning out. So now we have layer 3 of the stencil. Pixie spray. Whitney, I might need you in here to bring it home for me. And we talked about this weekend how we need we called them crafty techs, sort of like a surgical tech where you're like, okay, scalpel, etc. All right, so this is again where I am watching mostly that bottom quadrant down here to make sure that the point of my party hat is right up into that cute little pom-pom. And let's go to town. Whitney's standing by. She's like, you told me I needed to be here. I'm here. We're gonna do some green up here. The thing I love about stencils is you can basically see through to what you have done in previous layers, and it makes it easier to adjust your colors accordingly. So down here I have green, so I want some green up here. Right here I only have one pink layer, so I'm gonna put some pink down here at the bottom. So that is kind of how I decide on the fly, throwing ink pads around here. That's kind of how I decide how to disperse the color. So we'll do some pink on the bottom. This is going to be a very colorful hat. I might throw a little bit of red if I get my watermelon pad out here and put just a little bit of that watermelon color on the edges. This is Cupcake. Thank you. If you're wondering why there's 4 hands that you see on screen, I have not all of a sudden grown another pair of hands. I have a crafty tech. All right, so a little bit of dimension on the edges with that watermelon. Okay, now I think the mint julep is mostly what I'm missing, so I'm gonna finish off the rest of the stencil with this mint green color. And of course, you guys don't have to go to the trouble of using 5 ink colors, which is what I have used here today. On the video card that I did earlier, I just used the 3 layers of the stencil with the 3 colors of ink, and it turned out really cute. So don't feel like you have to pull in a million colors to make a really cute card. How's my Olympic blending going? Boom. I don't know, I've got maybe some gunk on my stencils. We'll see how this turns out. Maybe it's leftover pixie spray from the last time I used them, but don't mind those black lines. I think it's just some pixie spray gunk that you will not have on your stencils. I'm sure all of you do better. Okay, some green up here. And then we're gonna pull this off for the reveal. And the whole reason why I wanted to blend this was to show you the idea for a reverse shaker card. So we're gonna use the die that coordinates with the party hat to create that. Be fast like Heather. That's what I keep telling myself. Be fast, be fast. Okay. I didn't get it good down here. And I'm a perfectionist, so I have that problem too. Working against me right now. Okay, here's the big reveal. Let's take it off. Ooh. Oh, I like that color combo. That turned out pretty. Watermelon cupcake, potato chip, candy corn, and mint julep. So we've got our paper that we can now take off of the placemat. I'm going to grab my paper cutter and show you just how easy it is. We've done all the measuring for you, so you can simply just now cut this at 4 inches down the center. Bring my blade to the bottom here. So 4 inches, and then you can cut it again. It's got some adhesive on the back of it, so then you can cut it again at 5 1/4. And it will be perfect every single time. So I can't guarantee if you start with an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper that you're going to get perfectly centered pieces. So that's why it is best to start with that 8 by 10.5. And there's those 2 guys. Ba-bam. Ba-bam, 4 panels. All right, let's do that reverse shaker. I wasn't sure what color cardstock I would like with this, so I brought all of them. We're gonna try orange, I think. I think the green and the pink are too light. The yellow, I like the yellow. Let's do the yellow. It's very sunny. Okay. So with the yellow, I am going to cut this down to 4 by 5 1/4, which is an A2 layer panel. So this will end up going on my A2 card base. I'm going to take that coordinating die. Oh, I'm going to drop it first, twice. I can't get it off the floor. I dropped it and my nails won't pick it up. Thank you. Okay, so we are going to take and center that die as best we can, right like this, and we're going to send this through the die cut machine. So I'm not actually cutting out my blended panel. I'm cutting out this extra panel that we're going to create our reverse shaker card. Okay, so there's that. This piece ends up in the extras pile, and this is the piece that we're going to use. So we're going to place that, I gotta get these extras out of the way. So we're gonna place that over the top of our blended piece, just like that. It's okay if it doesn't line up perfectly because you can really cut off the excess around the outside. Actually, why don't I do that first? I'm gonna just cut off a little bit on the top side. You don't want to cut it too close to the image, but if you cut off a little bit, then you're good to go on each side. This is only if you're using this as in the way that I am with that reverse shaker idea. All right, so then we have our foam sticky strips, and we're gonna pop up this panel over the top. Oh my gosh, you know what I forgot? Acetate. That is the one thing you can't forget on a shaker card, and I forgot to grab that. So hold on, she's grabbing me. Mary, your birthday is tomorrow. Oh, happy birthday early. I hope you have a wonderful day, and now here is your birthday present. Our half birthday is your birthday. Oh my goodness, Candy, I do. I will be searching for that after the live. Candy said I need a magnetic stick because I can't pick up the dies. When I drop them, it's really hard for me to get them off of the desktop, and that's just because my nails have dip powder on them. So here we go. I've got some acetate, and I'm gonna cut that down. I'm doing 3 3/4 by 5 because that's a measurement that I know will be smaller than the 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, and we're going to use our tape runner then to adhere the acetate to the back of the party hat. Acetate. Number one thing you need to remember for a shaker card. I like using tape runner when I'm using acetate because then there's no chance that any liquid glue is going to seep out and make my acetate panel cloudy. So this is the back side. So then we're going to end up popping this up over the top. I'm going to build a well around the outside using our foam sticky strips. I like to build the well fairly close to the actual element so that my shaker items stay inside there, and then I add some extra foam sticky strips to the outside as well so that the whole level is, or the whole thing is popped up at the same level. But as you're going here, you just want to make sure that those foam sticky strips are right up against each other so that none of your things are going to escape. That makes sense, I think. These scissors are not very good. We'll start coming down this way. We have a new scissors. need the Jeopardy song while I'm going here. Do, 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 do. The Automotive Extendable Magnetic Hand. So it's an automotive tool. I think that's awesome because yes, I, for those who don't know, am very tall, and so bending down to the floor is a lot farther for me. I think I need the extendable arm. I like that idea. Okay, so once you have that, we're going to put a few extra pieces on the edges so that, like I said, the whole panel kind of lifts at the same level. Put this one up here. Okay, so now we get to build this thing. I am going to leave the backing paper on this and this, and we're going to pour our little shaker dots in from the bottom of the card, just because there's so many little pieces around here at the top. I think it'll be easier that way. So another wing it decision being made, but I do love these foam sticky strips that you can easily peel the backing paper off of. That is not a problem with my nails, so thankfully I can still do that without assistance. Okay, so like I said, we're going to leave these two on. All right, now we come back over to our panel and we center that over our blended piece. Stick it down. And then there should, oh, stick it down onto that. Then there should be that opening still in the bottom here, so you can kind of open that up, and we're gonna pour in some of these little confetti dots. One of my little tips, in case this helps you, so there is a hang tab on this which helps us display it for our own picking purposes. But when you're going to pour them out, a lot of times it gets stuck in that hanging tab. So what I do with my own personal stash is just cut off the hanging tab, and then I can open that up and more easily pour directly into the space that I have. So just a little tip from my craft room. If you wanted to be a super crafter, you could sort these little dots so there are no blue and purple in the mix, since we didn't use any blue and purple, but I think it still looks fun and festive with those colors represented. So I got a little bit too much, so I just was able to take them out. Now I'm going to take those last two backing pieces. If you have a tweezers, that might help get into the one on the inside here, but I don't have a tweezers, so I'm just going to yank it. There we go. And then press it down. You've sealed your little dots inside. You can add more dots around the outside if you wanted. It would be fun to even stamp this before you put it over the top. So maybe there's our sprinkles background stamp would be a really cute one for around the outside. So many different ways you can decorate that. And then simply add a cute sentiment over the top and you're all set to go. I feel like I should pull it up. Are the confetti dots new? Yes, Julianne, the confetti dots are new. They are new with this release. I think, you know how with every order you get a little freebie? I believe for our half birthday celebration, the freebie is a small sample of these confetti dots. So I think if you're placing an order, you might get the little confetti dots sampler, but if you want a full pack, then those are also available for purchase if you'd like. So alrighty, let's say farewell with 5 minutes to spare thanks to Olympic Speed Blending. Okay, thank you guys for tuning in today, and I'm off for spring break, coming back to craft with Susan on Friday, so I won't be gone very long, but Heather will be doing a live this week, so make sure you tune in on Thursday at 10 o'clock. she'll be here sharing more goodies. And in the meantime, happy half birthday to TE. And yeah, hope you guys have a wonderful few days. We'll see you next week, Tuesday. Bye-bye.